Hello and welcome to the 7th episode of TP with TP. That's the podcast with Tomm Polos. We have an amazing program for you guys today. From General Hospital, the talented and handsome Nathan Parsons joins me, as does the frontman for Barry Harris and Euphoria, Barry Harris. Also, a guy from my apartment complex claims he's gonna drop by. I'll believe it when I see it. Hopefully you guys will hear it. You're listening to the podcast with Tomm Polos, aka TP with TP. All right, here we are live back with TP. I'm here with the talented, handsome Mr. Nathan Parsons. Nathan, welcome on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
But of course, he is, many of you know him from General Hospital, where he played Ethan Lovett. Am I saying that right?
Yes, you are.
Oh, yep. Thank you. Who worked at the Haunted Star Casino. Is that so?
That is so. It was a floating casino.
The best kind of casino.
Yeah, of course.
Your luck never runs out there. And we have some questions right off the bat we want to ask you from simply looking online. People had a lot of questions for you. And I think rather than just posing them to the ether, we can pose them to the Ethan. And I can just get directly to you.
That was so good.
Thank you so much. That's what I'm here for. And so here are some questions in a segment we're calling Questions Asked Online, Answered by Nathan Parsons. These are what people have asked.
That's okay.
Here's actually a question asked. How do I get my hair cut like Nathan Parsons?
Well, it depends on if you're talking about the long haircut or the regular normal person haircut.
Oh, well, give me an answer to both.
Okay, the long haircut,
you don't cut it.
Just don't cut it. Yeah.
Looks like Titanic, no cuts.
Exactly. And no, the short haircut, I don't know. I guess the woman who runs the hair and makeup department is a very good barber. I believe it.
The next question from the internet. Is Nathan Parsons a Gemini?
That is correct. You win a prize. Yes, Nathan Parsons is a Gemini, proudly.
When is your birthday?
June 16th.
Ooh. And the next question we have is, how is Nathan Parsons so photogenic?
Well, I don't know if there's really a trick to that one. You just kind of smile when people look at you and cameras look at you and brush your teeth. I brush my teeth. And that's about it.
Have you ever been shy about that? When you go through the supermarket and you see these soap opera digests or the soap opera magazines sort of in the impulse buy section, do you ever think to myself, oh my God? Like, what is going through your mind?
Kind of. Yeah, at first especially, because I would get all these copies of the magazines before they came out on shelves, and so at first it was like, I don't really know if I want people to see all this stuff. And then after a while, it kind of became a joke.
Right.
Like, why are you looking at this? Why do you want to know what? So
because
now
it becomes like less about the show. It'd be one thing if it was about people's interest in Ethan, but then it becomes people's interest in Nathan.
Right, exactly. And to me, it's like, I'm not that interesting, really.
Well, stop that. You're interesting enough to be in this program, and that's all that matters.
All right.
And our next question in the segment, Questions Asked in Online Forums, Answered by Nathan Parsons. Here is the next question. Why doesn't Nathan Parsons post on Twitter more?
I don't tweet. I'm not a Twitterer. I also don't really do Facebook. I don't really do any of that stuff.
Do you know how to post videos to Facebook?
I don't, actually. I don't even know. That came out way after my time.
The next question people had for you is, in the beginning of your time on General Hospital, did you feel like you and your talents were being used to its full potential?
No. I never really felt like I was being able to do as much as I knew I could do, because there was never really a full story that I could run, and there was, I was always kind of playing off of other people and reacting more than acting, which is fun, and it's easy, but it's not really as fulfilling, I guess. And, from day one, I kind of had a story starting out, and then it died, and then I just popped up in all these random places and, gave words of wisdom. And that was, that became my, weird random role, so...
Now, do you have any say with these writers on the soap opera? Do you get to go to them and say, you know what, I feel like I could be used in this regard better, or you know what I'm really good at? This, let's write that in. Do you have that capability?
To some extent, you can go up and talk to the writers for sure, and talk to the producers and tell them, how you feel and what you want to do. They'll listen and they'll smile and they'll nod and they'll go, okay.
They're photogenic.
Exactly. Exactly. But there's no guarantee that anything will actually happen. I did that for 3 years. Went up there saying, I want a story. Let me do something. And they were always like, okay, give it 6 months. And 6 months later, I'm up there again going, give me a story. And so it was this constant kind of battle. And you can sway things a little bit. I can change some of my lines, and I can kind of try to direct the character in a certain way. But ultimately, I'm not writing the show, sadly.
Lucky for you, though, when you went into audition, a lot of the writers or producers took a fancy to you because you actually came in not for the role of Ethan Lovett, which you played so well. Yep. You went in for Dante. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And so that Inferno did not happen. You went in to play Dante is Sonny's son.
Yes.
Sonny's. That's not repetitive. Sonny's son. But they were like, no. But then all of a sudden, boom! You got the call. Hey, we're gonna write a part for you. How did that make you feel? How did that transpire?
Well, it was great. I mean, the part that I went in for was, like you said, for Dante, and the sides I got were he was like a mobster kind of guy in New York. And I had been told over and over by my agents and my managers, we're not going to do soaps. We're not going to...
We don't like Dove. Yeah. We don't like Ivory.
Don't
Iris Springs.
Be hygienic at all. No soaps. And so I was auditioning, and nothing was really happening. And then General Hospital came up, and they said, don't worry about it. We're not going to accept it anyway. So I was like, okay, whatever. Clean slate. I can do whatever I want. And I went in to play this New York mobster with an Australian accent, and starting with the security guard, because why not? Starting with the security guard out at the gate, security at the front desk, the casting director's assistant. I had this accent, and I was 100% Australian, and I went in, read the scenes, and they were like, that's bizarre. And but something, I guess, got their attention, and they called me back in, and so I did the whole thing again, security, all the way into the casting directors and the producers, and then they called me again, and I was like, wait a minute, you gotta be joking. Like, this guy is a mobster. I am totally messing with you right now. And eventually they called my agent and manager, and they said, we want to hire your Australian actor. And my agent and manager were like, no, we sent you a Texan. What are you talking about? And they're like, no, you sent us an Aussie. So I had to get on this conference call with my agent and my manager, and first thing they were just like, what the hell did you do? And I was like, I was just kind of messing with them. And they were like, don't ever do it again. But congratulations, like, he got offered a part. And thus was born Ethan Lovett.
You were born in Australia but raised in the States, correct?
Correct, yeah. I was
You were born in Adelaide?
Adelaide, South Australia. Only lived there for 6 months. Mm-hmm. And then
So had a little trouble picking up an accent with the goo gaga.
Well, you'd be surprised. I mean, Australian accent has always been easy for me. I guess the first 6 months, first year of your life, you're a sponge, right?
Yeah.
All the doctors were Australian, everyone we lived with was Australian. I guess something just kind of clicked, and I've always known that one. But yeah, I grew up in Colorado and Texas, and I had a drawl when I moved out here. So,
do you still have family or friends in Australia, and have they watched the series?
I do not have any family in Australia. My parents were just there on a work visa. So I know that some people do watch the show in Australia, but I personally do not know any of them.
Now, here's my question. This is not from the Internet Ether, which our wonderful segment, Questions Asked in Online Forums, answered by Nathan Parsons. But this is my question. And my question has to do with Ethan, has to do with Australia. And in an Ethan Lovett voice, can you please say, I'd like a bloomin' onion and a Joey burger, mate?
Yeah, of course. All right. I'd like a bloomin' onion and a Joey burger, mate.
Thank you.
I'm good.
Oh, that was wonderful. Another question from the internet.
All right.
Who is Jim Warren, and why does he get to take pictures of Nathan Parsons?
Jim Warren is, he was a publicist back in the day, and now he's just kind of a freelance photographer that has been around soaps for long enough to where he knows the producers, he knows the directors, he knows, everyone on set, and so he just kind of shows up all the time and will take pictures and sell them to ABC Soaps in Depth or Soap Opera Digest or wherever he can. So that's how he got in.
Back to those magazines, do you ever see a story in those magazines about you or about your character and you just go, come on, or this isn't right, or where are they getting their facts?
To some extent, I'll do interviews for them, and sometimes you read them and you're like, I kind of said something like that, but they're clearly paraphrasing. So it's not like, oh, come on. It's like, well, if people are really reading all this stuff, then they'll hear what they want to hear, I think. They don't necessarily hear it right, but they'll hear what they want to hear, and that's what those magazines are for,